It's the off season.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Off Season. The podcast is called Off Season. I'm not
I
sure
love it.
if I told you.
My favorite.
Um, but it's just all about just people out. Right now, we're focusing Hampton stuff because during the Hamptons, you're probably watching this if you are because you follow me and or Brian. That we are from the Hamptons.
Yeah.
We East Hampton, and during the off season, the population goes down, activities go down, and it's
It's
just
better. I
it's
love
really
it.
nice out here. But Brian, I've known Brian for
8 years,
close, yeah,
9
eight,
years maybe.
almost a decade
Yeah, yeah,
right now.
decade.
Yeah, I've been photographing him on and off for all those 9 years. He's a great guy, great DJ, great producer, very good in the fashion industry too. Brian, why don't you introduce yourself and see?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a
I'm
little bit about yourself.
Brian. I go by Griffin, which is my last name. Um, yeah, originally from Columbus, Ohio, but I've been in New York 12 years and then out in the Hamptons for 8 and kind of splitting my time. I've been back and forth a little bit, but here this is home now. I'm kind of half and half, but have a place in the city and out here, but I think the nature of my career has been so fast paced that I really value my time out here. Um, and yeah, Hamptons is home now for sure. It feels like home.
No,
And I've
yeah,
lived in a lot of different places in my life. I went to high school in South Carolina, college in Dallas, Texas. Traveled playing pro tennis for a while, and then got a job in New York. So, um, but yeah, no, I'm appreciative to be season 1, episode 1 of off season. I
Yeah,
love
we
it, man.
we got
Thanks
a
for
good
having me.
lineup coming up. You're amazing. I consider you a really good friend. So like I literally texted you like today. It's
Yeah,
like, hey, like I want to start this pilot. I have everything set up. We have
yeah,
a game plan, and he was amazing guy.
appreciate that.
Um,
No, it's been amazing to watch your growth, for real. I'm always running around and like always, I don't always get a chance to like. I think when you're not from here, like
mhm.
I don't have family here, so I had to really push, ever since you've known me. I mean, I was teaching tennis on the weekends and like really grinding, which I think you should do regardless of where you're from. Um, yeah, it's nice to kind of have some people be in your life for a long time. And I remember when I first ended up out here, and it was off season, and it
It
was
was
like a
also
little bit
yeah.
lonely, to be honest. I was like just I didn't know anybody, I was like, what is this Hamptons thing about? Yeah, it was great. I was trying to kind of at that time just start kind of building my personal brand. Um, it had a goal in mind that wasn't personal branding, and we can talk about that. But yeah, man, I remember that first photo shoot on the beach. I was trying to create some lifestyle content, and yeah, it was. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. It's fun to like slow down and think about it every once in a while, but I try not to. But
No, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that first shoot I remember that was so iconic. Like I have pictures, like I used it in my portfolio for years,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, before we start getting more into it, do you mind moving just the mic a little bit closer?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, my bad. I'm loud too because I'm deaf on the music stuff now. Seriously, like losing my hearing. It's bad, but I gotta be careful with that. I'm trying to switch to in-ear monitors on the DJ. Is this good? You hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah. If you want, you can
Yeah,
see how loud you are through there. But anyway, so I want to get into kind of how your life story. Like let's like we don't have to start the entire thing,
yeah,
but I kind of want to because I've known you for years.
yeah,
I kind of want to. You've never told me the story of how you got into playing tennis professionally.
yeah,
I'd like to get to know that side of you more, and then we
yeah,
can get into the more recent stuff you've been doing. But that's something I've always wanted to know. It just
yeah.
you never got a chance.
Sometimes that journey, doesn't the journey doesn't make sense like when you're in the moment or like but looking back, I think I've had a really eclectic career and like life experience that now is serving me really well. Ooh, serving tennis reference. Nice. Um, but no, tennis was I played a lot of sports growing up, had two parents that worked, so they threw me into a lot of activities. I think now as an adult, I realize it's like, it was keeping me busy because, and keeping me out of trouble. And I think I think there was a little bit of a pressure to perform at a high level in whatever I did. I don't think they cared what I did, just as long as I was, you know, kind of dominating them, which I'm appreciative. I think now that's a bigger subject to unpack, but I was always pushed to really kind of, try to be the best at whatever I was trying to do, and played played a bunch of instruments growing up. I think I had a big creative drive as a child, but I kind of focused in on tennis because that was something I was Felt I had the best chance to play in college, and I loved it. I fell in love with it probably, I don't know, when did I start really loving it? I think for a long time I was getting dragged to practice. Like most kids just want to stay at home and do whatever, you know. But I'm thankful for those days that I was dragged to go practice. And at some point it flipped and I like internalized it, and did pretty well and was on a top Division 1 team, which was the only American on that team. Tennis is a very international sport. Um, and I don't know, my parents used some money that they saved for college, and I got a scholarship at a tennis academy in South Carolina. Um, you know, and I think I recruited to play at SMU in Dallas, Texas, which is um, top 20 Division 1 team at the time. And yeah, opened up a lot of doors. I thought Dallas, Texas was a big city. I was like, oh shit, I made it. I'm in Dallas. Yo, look how big these buildings are, like coming from Columbus, Ohio. And Columbus has blown up since I left too. But yeah, New York was a whole nother animal. Um, but yeah, tennis has been something it's like golf. I mean, it's powerful networking, especially in New York. It's like court times $300. Like it can, you know, it's a great networking tool. What kind of folks are paying $300 an hour to do something? It's a lot of high net worth individuals, CEOs of companies, celebrities. So tennis has been something. Every career change that I've made, every like best relationship that I have came from tennis. So my goal for a lot of my life, I didn't was just to be on a college team. I didn't even think about being professional. Um, I think a lot of American players, their goal is just to they look like left and right. Like
Mm.
the rest of the world, they're looking up. That young 12-year-old kid in Spain. I'm gonna make a Rafael Nadal reference because he's my age, but now it would be Carlos Alcaraz. They're trying to. That's their target. Ours is like, oh, maybe I could play for, in Ohio. It's like maybe I could play for Miami of Ohio or Denison or Cleveland State or whatever, and that's success. Just being able to play college tennis. I wish I had had that mentality of just like, let's see how great I can be, and then figure out where we land later. I ended up getting really obsessed, like I do on a lot of things. And I excelled and trained really hard, and I was winning some big matches. I think tennis has a problem in kind of the minor leagues of tennis. It's a very, very expensive sport to try to break through those early ranking situations. You're basically six figures of expenses, and your prize money at that level is not very good. They're trying to fix that now. And now college athletes can make money off their social media. That's a big thing. So I think there's some other revenue driving opportunities for athletes, college athletes, and kind of those up and coming pros. But yeah, tennis was and is. I played this afternoon, which part of the reason I love the Hamptons is my biggest community out here are the tennis community. They kind of helped me grow in the music stuff initially. It was like they came out to support me. So yeah, tennis is it's a lifetime sport.
Yeah.
There's levels to it, but you can play until you're 80 years old. I
Yeah,
think I
yeah,
was playing next
definitely.
to an 80-year-old today,
Yeah, it kind of just like I feel like it'd be like comparable to like golf. You can
Yeah,
play
I
that.
mean, look, they're both country club sports. I think it's tough, like especially metropolitan markets.
Have you
But
ever tried golf?
I don't have the patience for it. Tennis is my country club sport of choice. Although I didn't grow up in a country club, shout out to Olympic Indoor on Indianola Avenue. The court time was like $15. I think the owner, his name was Jim Criswell. I hope he's doing well. He used to give me free court time because I
Uh,
was like kind of the young up and coming like kid and whatever. I think lessons were like $30, and I was playing with a two-time NCAA champion. In New York, you play with like, I mean, I don't want to talk shit, but like it's $300 regardless of where they played, and they might have played at a school that maybe didn't have the best athletic program. But the cost of living in New York is a totally different beast.
it's crazy.
But No, I've gone to the driving range a couple times, but I need to work on my golf game. But my legs are still working, although I'm slowing down just a little bit here, athletically. But uh, I still love tennis. It still is my happy place, and it's really nice now. The last couple years, it's like something I'm good at, and it's way better than running on a treadmill.
Oh yeah.
And it's like my happy place because there's no pressure anymore. I'm not trying to like it's not how I'm trying to feed myself. It's literally just like something I enjoy, you know. So I'm really thankful for. my relationship with the game has changed over the years. One, it was like, oh shit, I had to compete and like win a state championship and make it to a top college program. I mean, I was number 13 on the lineup my freshman year. I had to like really hustle to get into the lineup of my college team. And then it becomes a totally different level when it becomes your job.
No, yeah,
The
you
way
gotta
it's no longer a
different
game.
mentality,
It's a profession.
Yeah.
So it was a totally different approach. But I think that you know sports gives you a lot of good lessons for life. Taking things day by day, point by point in the game of tennis. I definitely I like the individual nature too. It's like if you work hard and you create a good result, you perform at a high level, then good things should happen. The world business works slightly differently, but I still think if you work hard, you put yourself in a position to win. And I think I've done pretty well, although I'm pretty hard on myself. But now then it was like brand marketing, fashion world, which is also like tough industry, and then now music's even like crazier, newer. I feel like I'm going back to elementary school now, pivoting into music. But um, yeah, man, it's yeah, tennis. I think there's a reason why a lot of people are starting to appreciate the game more the last couple of years. I mean, COVID, it was one of the few games you could play
You play,
socially
like, so
distanced,
yeah,
and all the brands were kind of coming back. Fila was having a moment. Sergio Tacchini was coming back. I hope I said that right, or the internet's gonna roast me. Fila, all these like retro tennis brands are getting hot again. So, yeah, man, go play tennis, people. Thanks
so,
for coming to my TED Talk. Zach
so
was like, "Am I gonna get to talk on this podcast?"
no, no, this is the purpose, like, I'm just trying to, like, facilitate, you and,
Yeah,
like,
man.
as I wanna
No,
get to
hey,
know you, it's like
get some
it's not
time
like
back.
the Zach podcast, like, I don't wanna be like
No, no,
I don't
just
wanna be
joking.
talking, but,
I have a lot to
I
share,
love
man.
listening, and I
Yep.
love that's one of my, like,
Yeah,
my anyway.
for
So,
sure.
you said that tennis has helped you with, like, getting into the other professions that
100%,
you've, like,
especially in
gone
New York.
into. Let's, talk about your fashion stuff, because that's
Yeah.
kind of really when I started to know you,
Yep.
was when you were building your personal brand.
Yep.
And, it was all about sponsorship, it's all about, fashion. So, like, how'd you get into fashion? What made you interested in wanting to pursue that?
I mean,
I remember you worked at Adidas, right?
yeah, so
For a
my
while?
it was like a dream job for an ex-athlete to work for a major sports brand. Are you kidding me? But the underlying economics of the retail of tennis was not super healthy, and I was on the sales side. And tennis specifically was like 2% of Adidas's overall business. So like they weren't getting a lot of the marketing budgets to do all this cool storytelling. And I was this young, passionate guy, right? I mean, I still am, but I was really fired up then. And and at the time it's like you had this huge like shift happening in like sneaker marketing. Streetwear was becoming high fashion. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
right when Yeezy did Yeezy season 1, and like Off White was the Nike answer was Off White, and Virgil was like these guys were just merging all these creative disciplines, and it was just kind of all happening. It was fucking happening in Soho. It was happening in New York, and I was just in it. And I was like looking around and watching these guys do this amazing branding. I was like, fuck, that's dope. I want to be in that room. I want to hang with those guys. I want to move like those guys. And fast forward, now I have, and it's funny, now they're all into tennis and golf and whatever. Timing is a lot in life, but it was, yeah, I was joking if like those guys were, if, when I say those guys, I mean some of those like, the Kiths of the world and Concepts and Mike Packer shoes and Dover Street Market, all these like kind of cool independent retailers were into tennis when I was starting my career. I probably would have been the CMO of Adidas, but now they're all into tennis, which is fine. Like I'm thankful for my path. Um, but yeah, so at the time I got an email. Somebody internally connected me with um, somebody at Condé Nast, and I got picked up kind of on print media was shifting. In not the right direction. Print is not dead, but it's fallen. I think
Yeah.
just traditional media in general, media is being democratized every day. You know the potential for even the format of podcasting can build a huge audience and have just as much pull in the marketplace as some of those pillars of media.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking TV, radio. I mean, my mom sold radio advertising my whole life, and radio was kind of falling apart right when I was trying to make it as a pro tennis player, and maybe I don't know. So I'm very sensitive to how media has shifted, um, and always had kind of an advertising mindset. But yeah, pivoted into fashion. Sorry. My therapist calls me tangential, so this might be tough. Go on tangents. My new favorite word I learned a couple of days ago, but. Um, yeah, basically, sports brands were moving into the fashion space, becoming more lifestyle marketers, and I was just in it, and I was loving it, and I got started to get invited to some events with GQ magazine. GQ kind of like built an influencer program. This is the early days of influencer marketing.
Yeah, so you
Uh,
got in on it like as soon as
yeah,
you
in a
got
major market, like, and it's cool. You're blessed in New York City, and even to this day, um, New York marketing, New York is a key battleground for brand marketing. I mean,
in.
every day of the week is like something's happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see all the things that you're
yeah,
doing
I mean,
every
well,
single
now I'm
day.
in a lot of
It's
those
like
rooms, and once
it's
one PR
crazy.
agency wants you or they're on their list, they kind of follow each other and like it just builds, you know? Um, and yeah, it's interesting. And I just kind of like nerded out on that stuff. I just became obsessed with it. I love to this day, every day. I mean, I met somebody today. I'm like, oh, you guys should build an eyewear brand and do all that. Like, I love marketing,
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, media was shifting. Condé Nast was kind of like developing an influencer program. Shout out to Pam Kalpinen. She was kind of heading that up. She was the, I believe, I don't know her role exactly was director of marketing, probably of GQ at the time. Then she went over to Time Magazine. Great girl. From Ohio. Oh, went to Ohio State. I don't think from Ohio, but anyways, very forward thinking marketer. And shout out to Pam. And so yeah, getting on that list was big for me. They were basically kind of like pimping out. And I use that word now. I just thought it was cool to be in these rooms, but really what was happening was like we were advertising extensions of ad buys within GQ's ecosystem. So if there was an ad bought by Stacy Adams footwear or Jack Daniels or Grand Seiko timepieces or whatever, they would fill the room with, this is common practice now, but at the time this was like a new thing. This was a new media channel, and it was it was the wild west. It was like the advertisers didn't know how to price it. It wasn't being regulated. It was like it was in terms of like you know, um, it was just this new format happening a little bit, and people are trying to figure it out. I think it's stabilized now, and that's why it feels like for most businesses and individuals, it's so tough to grow in the current world because everybody's on those platforms now, and
Yeah, like
it is almost a
shenanigans.
traditional form of media.
Yeah.
I'm hoping like it goes back to good old fashioned like grassroots marketing and in person stuff. I think events still matter. Um, in 2020, everybody's freaking out because like, oh shit, like there's no events,
Yeah.
because that was becoming a big thing. If a brand sponsors a music festival or South by Southwest or Art Basel or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we all have the tools to build our little audiences and communities. Ultimately, those words are interchangeable, audience and community, but um, actually, they're probably not. We got to unpack that. Interesting. That's interesting to think about. I think community is, where they have touch points with each other around in a central focal point, probably, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is the goal for any brand, whether you're an individual or you sell sneakers or cars or whatever. Um, I just did a really cool thing with Ford 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they have a community built around Ford Bronco. And I got a chance to like, I'm not I'm not, I'm a city guy now. I mean, I live in a beach town, like Ford Bronco. I see a lot of them running around here, right? But, you know, these are guys doing guys and gals doing rock climbing every weekend, and in the desert, and but I admired the community that they had built of true brand enthusiasts around Bronco, and they flew me down there to kind of like help amplify it. So I'm probably, you know, there's levels to this, right? But at
Yeah.
least in the New York market, I'm definitely in the game as terms of, you know, um, creator marketing. I won't even use the I word. Uh, I don't want to say that
Yeah.
because I think there's a negative connotation to that. But I think just, you know,
Yeah. No, I'm always impressed about seeing you like operate while at events and stuff, or even not when you
It's
like
exhausting.
you're
I'm
your
not there for fun. I'm there to like,
your brain's constantly moving. I can see all the gears, like, oh,
yeah,
like this angle,
yeah,
this is gonna get this. Like
yeah.
everything for you is like,
Well, it's
um,
work. It's not. I'm
yeah,
not. I mean, I think that's a natural progression for anybody. Like first, you're like excited to be in the room, right? And then you're figuring out, okay, who are the players? Like, what exactly is going on here? And then it's like, okay, maybe, okay, how can I be in more of these rooms? Or how, or like, there's a reason you're there. So then you want to like figure that out, and then you figure out who the players are, you know? So in a lot of these cases, it's like, who's the PR person? Who's the, who's the venue? Who's the alcohol sponsor? If it's all encapsulated, there's always a brand team there. There's product creators, like, whether that's the designer, which is different than those other roles. So you
yeah.
figure out who those things are, and
Who to
you know,
talk to and who,
and at
yeah,
huge brands, it's like, then they have media buyers, and like you start to dissect these organizations a little bit. And that's how I see a room. I see it like a football coach does.
yeah.
And I think I'm really fucking good at it.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
you are
I
like,
think, and I just say that just because, um, you know, it, of the track record of big brands I've worked with is I'm proud of that.
no, you've
Especially
been it.
not being, in my world, it's like my competition are children of celebrities, and like, um, I was a great athlete, but I didn't host hoist rather a U.S. Open trophy. I'm proud of what I've built and the network I've built, and the initial goal was not to be talent. The initial goal was to probably be on the more of the brand partnership side, and like, like just network with the brands and then sell big, whether it's advertising or event sponsorships or whatever. Which now all these things are like colliding. I think the most dangerous people in the marketplace now are like very multifaceted. I was super inspired by Virgil Abloh. He was just good at a lot of things, and kind of took all these um, different disciplines and kind of created a beautiful symphony of execution. And Yeah, I definitely looked up to him in terms. A lot of people say, okay, you got, and it's true. You be great at one thing, and that's true. You do have to be great at something to break through, 100%. But I do think you have to understand like how the entire machine works
Yeah,
in order to, you know, um, stick around and actually change the machine or build your own machine or,
yeah.
so
No, yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So I want to get into the more what you're doing now.
yeah,
You talk about all this fashion stuff, these just like tennis stuff, which is like amazing.
yeah,
Um, and then while I passed, I would say 2 years, 3 years.
yeah. 2020, four,
Yeah.
4.5. What are you
Um,
talking about? Music?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
100%.
You've been getting to what do you like when you describe yourself before I say this? Because I know I
Yeah, I think a
introduced you.
lot of I
What
struggle to describe myself too. Like I'll like
do
be
you?
somebody new. I met a writer from Rolling Stone magazine at a Dom Perignon event. I love that sentence. Listen to that event. Listen to that sentence. Somebody I knew, by the way, like digitally. But and I was like, I do a lot of things, which I think is a strength and a weakness at times. But anyways, sorry. What was your question?
No, no,
um,
I'm just saying like
like I struggle to
I was gonna
describe
say,
myself,
oh,
and my
like,
elevator pitch is not always super tight. You need 3 hours with me.
no, I'm the
Um,
same way. Like, I
there
do
are
this, I do this, I do this, and
Yeah.
like,
Well, I've
so
had to because
basically,
I think the marketplace has been so turbulent that
it
I've
is,
had to like
yeah,
really, thank God for tennis. I learned how to move my feet.
yeah,
And so, it's been tough because I've had to be constantly on the move and constantly, but I've come up during a very interesting time where, you know, traditional media was falling apart, retail was shifting to e-commerce. Um, you know, there was just a lot of social change going on in the world. The world is just a very, change is the only constant, but I feel like my career has existed during a time of rapid and exponential change. It's just changing constantly. The strategy that worked a year ago will not work in 2025,
yeah,
and you have to constantly keep evolving, and it sucks because we're not exactly our parents generation where we can just be like, work at the same company for 20 years, build a great life,
yeah,
cost of
exactly.
living,
Yeah,
it's
you gotta
it's
do a whole
it's
different
not that world
thing.
now. Like people don't understand
It's
what the
like,
fuck we're doing right now, like the podcast, like what but there is value there, and it's now shifted to the attention economy, and content is king. And I hope you chop this up. I hope I say some good little things, and like that's really those are the moments that are gonna go viral.
No, yeah, I
Um,
definitely.
so
No, so
so
what getting back to what I was saying,
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, you're a DJ,
Yeah.
producer, and you started that during COVID, right?
Yeah, so I did DJ in college, and
Oh, you did?
I played a bunch of instruments growing up.
What
I
instrument
played
did you
piano,
play? Yeah.
saxophone, cello. I sang. I could sight read. I was in like vocal competitions. I was in musical theater. I My parents were professional ballroom dancers, so I
See, this is why I wanna talk I
yeah.
like this podcast, 'cause
Yeah, you
I've
know the
known
shit
you
about
for
me.
9
Yeah, you don't know the
years,
shit. I mean,
and
look, I was very disciplined and still am. And look, I have to do a better job on my content. I was very like the serious, like, well, for a long time it was the GQ universe. So I was like the whiskey guy. I was always in a suit,
yeah.
whatever. I think returning to music is really me reclaiming my voice,
Mm,
and I do think in any arena, as a human being or as a career, you gotta fucking listen before you speak. So I feel like all these experiences, like I absorbed all this stuff, and I felt like it was kind of happening to me, like I was reactive to the marketplace. And I think now I'm getting to like put myself out there, take all these things I've learned, which I've gotten a chance to observe best practices in brand marketing, music, every single product category of brand marketing. I've had conversations with top traditional media companies from,
yeah.
you know major print, which there's probably one or two. There's like one, and then there's like a couple small ones,
Yeah.
and then major network television, radio. I don't know. Outside of iHeartRadio, I don't know what that is anymore. Um, but I've learned a lot, and there are some of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers in New York. And it's cool because you get to be around the best. And if you think you can hang, New York is a great place for you.
No, yeah,
Hamptons is even greater networking. You can just sit at Starbucks, and
and
the cool
yeah,
thing is, unlike the city, you don't have to go through. You don't have to make an appointment. There's no like you could literally just be sitting next to a major fashion designer or
that's crazy, yeah.
so this place is even more special
If
you know
you know how to work it, you know how to
yeah.
talk to
But
people.
yeah, no, the return to music. I mean, I don't want to skip over. I built a really good reputation for doing really good quality video content. I think the marketplace has caught up a little bit
Mhm.
now, but I was kind of back when brands and events only wanted BFA or Getty photos at events. I was like sneaking videographers in and like trying to show the social aspect of social media.
Mhm.
And I think that differentiated me for a long time. Now, ever since TikTok Reels, now it's caught up, right? But I still built that reputation. So I think that kind of like got built an area of specialty. And it's cool now with the music stuff. The natural progression for any DJ, once you start DJing, then you're like, oh, you want to start sampling stuff. Then once you start sampling, you want to deconstruct things. On Serato, you can take out the stems,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah, yeah.
fun. You can do mashups on the fly and blah blah blah, and that's so fun, right? Because you get to like put your stamp on stuff. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you start producing. So I think all these, and now it's like I'm still doing the video content of like my experiences and my life, and I'm getting to put my own tracks on it, which is so cool. And it's like I just feel like in the last couple years, and I only started putting out original. I put out a couple remixes, like a couple rough tech house ones. They were catchy, I guess, but I mean, they could. Now that I listen back, like they could have been done better, but I didn't really have the skills at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time. I'm getting better. I'm obsessed now. I'm super passionate about the production side. I
Mhm.
still love to DJ, obviously, um, but I'm really having fun, just being in the lab and like making things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that is the highest form of human expression, is to like make stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what differentiates us from the animal kingdom, right? Is our ability to create.
Yeah.
Um, you
Wait,
know,
before we go more into this, I just wanna,
yeah,
preface to everyone who's not watching, you just came out with an album
yeah, it's
called
doing big things.
Chasing.
Yeah, it's at like I think the
Um,
album itself is like 30, 40 days ago. It's at like 130,000 streams. It's pretty good for an independent artist who's doing their own marketing and artwork and everything like that. I'm at like 600,000 streams now on Spotify, which is huge. SoundCloud thing, you can put out remixes and stuff.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
that's a huge game. But yeah, I'm proud of. I put out an album that was very reflective of really. how much I love this environment. I know we're in a room right now, but not too far from us is the ocean. Um, part of my New York journey, kind of like I got had some tough experiences in business and had to learn some things the hard way. And this place, the ocean, is very healing to me. Sunset hour is very healing to me. And so I put out an album. It was originally going to be called Chasing Sunsets, but I just thought chasing was cleaner
Yeah,
from a
say
graphic design
yeah.
standpoint. No.
Uh,
um, and so yeah, I'm super proud of you know what I made, and I made some promotional vinyls and sent them out to some folks.
the
You
vinyls
you
are
have one.
really, we actually played it at the clubhouse,
Did it sound good? Yeah. I was
at
like,
the,
I've never
at
produced.
Halloween.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, we,
Oh, nice.
one of
Well,
my,
perfect. I mean, look, it's not like the danciest album of all time. I think like early on in a set, there's some
yeah, yeah,
solid, like This Love is a great track. Perfect is a little dancier. It's very it's summer inspired. Now, I really wanted to produce vinyl. I didn't realize. I mean, I'm figuring all this shit out as
yeah,
I go, bro. Nobody's like, oh, here you go. Here's how you figure out everything. My whole life,
yeah.
I feel like I've lived my life with a little bit of a pioneering mentality and existence. I mean, I've lived on my own since I was 16 years old. I mean, that's you gotta like you're
You do everything
constantly
yourself,
you
yeah.
gotta like it's scary. If it's scary to go out into the wild and like build something out of nothing when you have nothing to work. All you have is your can-do spirit, a little bit of talent, maybe. I don't know. Like you had to I had to play with the cards I had, and I'm proud of it. But yeah, the Chasing album is kind of the antithesis of my experience, which is it's healing in nature. It's not aggressive. Everything else in my life has been aggressive. It's go after it, chase that thing. Oh, chase. Hey, there you go. Part of I don't know if I even unpacked.
No,
But
I
my whole
definitely
life
get
has
it.
been like, I mean,
A grind.
hustling,
Yeah.
grinding, hustle culture, survival. I mean, really survival. It was survival more than anything. I do want to be great, but I also at times it was like I just got to survive. I got to keep going.
No, yeah.
Um, but
It's a great
yeah,
album.
yeah.
It's a great album. I
I
love it.
wanted, a lot of people in the music game, of which I don't have a ton of like huge. I have a couple really solid mentors in the game now, but conventional wisdom says put out singles. You know, put out singles, put out singles, put out singles. I've always kind of had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, like, okay, cool. Like, watch. I'm just gonna do what I feel is right,
I'm the same way,
and
yeah.
like talk your shit and then back it up.
No,
Like
yeah.
do your thing. Like, okay, cool, do it, but back it up. Make sure it works. Like, and the cool thing about music is like it's not. And I'm having to teach myself this on a regular basis, and it's actually an area of growth, which I guess I'm admitting a fault right now. Is it's not sports. It's not like I have to shift my entire mentality. Music is not. It feels like it in the DJ game, especially like okay, small market. It's like okay, it's like a zero sum game. It's like oh, if he gets that gig, then I didn't get that gig, blah blah blah. But it's art, and I think it's at least to me,
Mm.
which probably is delusional. Probably isn't an accurate statement, and probably is wishful thinking. There's definitely a competition element to it, I think, but I needed music to be healing to me because I have existed in hyper competitive environments my entire fucking life, and I have to say, it wears on you. It wears on you. Imagine like competing just
Constantly.
every day in every arena.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at war for years, and so I think if you listen to the album, it's Where Will I Go is a second track on the B side of the vinyl. And it's like I've had a couple of life experiences which I'm not going to talk about here.
No, yeah, yeah.
That like it's like shit like where am I go like where will I go like where if shit's hitting the fan like what's next like I'm scared you
Yeah.
know so there's some meaning to some of these songs for me. The first, it starts out with Where's This Love is the first track. It's like it's a little bit like almost like a nod to Black Eyed Peas, like where is the
Yeah,
love,
yeah.
like or Tony Yayo, like I know you don't love me kind of a thing, like, which is funny because I actually think I do get a lot of love, but I think when I came in this scene initially, it was like people are like, oh, who's this? People don't like people that carry themselves with confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes that confidence is just covering up something. So, but yeah, no, the album's called Chasing. It's doing good. Check it out. But I felt that those songs worked best together, and so that's why I did a full album,
Yeah. Oh no,
even though most people told me that that was a stupid idea.
I love the
Yeah,
album. Like,
appreciate it.
even my like I was playing it in the car one day,
Yeah.
and my mom was in the car, and she's like,
Oh, cool.
"Is this Brian?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is Brian." She's like, "Oh my God!" Like, and
Yeah.
she added it on the
It's
playlist.
like
Like the next day, she like
shout out to
texts
me.
me. She's like, "Oh, send me Brian's thing. I want to
Uh,
listen to it." I'm like, "Yeah, it was really good."
I
And
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
um,
Yeah, I think that the best way to listen to it is probably that last track, which is all of the tracks put together.
oh really?
Um, yeah, it's the 44-minute mix of everything.
Uh,
I mean, I'm proud of the individual tracks, but um, yeah, I mean, this year was crazy, man. I mean, like, and then you gotta create content. It's exhausting. Every musician complains about this. Like, and I mean, I'm in my infancy, so I don't even know where I want to go yet. A lot of my DJ career has been out here. I've had some really cool opportunities in the city, some stuff international. I have some cool stuff coming up, but I've played a lot of my music at resorts and restaurants and like sexy, like kind of vibey,
yeah, vibes.
sunset Afro house type of sound, which is also where I was at spiritually. Um, but I think the one thing I'm proud about is I am differentiating myself by putting stuff out at this speed. You could be in the DJ scene for a long time. The way you get to the next level is, and I know some guys have been at the same level forever. And I'm not talking shit. You can make a great living, but if you really want to be great, which is my mentality in my whole fucking life, because that to be great is the only way you own your destiny. It's the only way you could be able to kind of call the shots of where you're gonna go. And I want to have control of my own life. Every human wants
Yeah,
agency of their life, right? So I think producing as that's where you go. And the fun thing about house music is, house music in particular. Although I have some cool updates for you, we'll talk about. But is there's a structure to it, there's a formula to it. It's loop based. So you start to dive into your DAW of choice, and you got to come up with some catchy stuff. But there's it's attainable. You know,
yeah. No, I've always been impressed by everything you've done. Like,
appreciate it.
what's it called? You even like when we were like younger and everything. When I was only in like high school and we first met,
Yeah. How old were you when I met you?
I was 16,
Damn.
dude.
Fuck.
Like that's
Remember you had a
crazy.
different haircut
Yeah,
pre
yeah,
college, and then you went to California for a minute, right?
yeah. I went to California for
Yeah,
2 years.
college in
Yeah,
California. Yeah, I've known you a
yeah.
while. Yeah, that's cool, man. Look at you
But
now.
yeah, but just seeing you like do all this stuff like during college, I kind of went through like a huge party phase. So I didn't
Yeah.
really, and
Well, now yeah, that's the problem with DJing. It's like shit. It's
yeah,
obviously a high temptation environment.
exactly, yeah.
I
No,
think
but
yeah,
even like before that, like I just saw how like in high school, even I
oh,
saw
totally.
how much you did stuff, and that
Yeah,
like like internally, I mean, like in a phrase like, oh, like you want to be in a room with people who are better than you, and then you kind of want to be
respect.
like
That's
same
true. That's
mentality
the
that I
only
had,
way. Yeah,
you know?
that's a lesson goes back to tennis. It's like you always want to play with people that are better than you because
Yeah,
that's how you get
exactly.
better. Now
Yes.
the hard thing is like when you're in a room or when I'll go back to tennis because it's like the way I learned how to think about life. It's like my little like when I was a child, oh hit the forehands, whatever. But run your side to sides. But the hard thing is to maintain your best level when you're playing somebody that's beneath you. It's like so in DJ world, it would be like, okay, if you have a gig, it's not so cool. It's like, are you still gonna take pride in it? Are you still gonna like, you know, show every single opportunity that you
Yeah,
have
get
and
closer to the mic.
respect? My bad, sorry. Um, and I think that I've carried that into. I struggled with that a long time as an athlete, and I think I carried that into my professional life. I move with. I'm starting to relax a little bit, but because I don't have to hustle as hard to stay in the room now. You still have to hustle, like never get
Yeah, yeah,
complacent. But I probably over indexed in terms of like I was intense I treated events like they were my sport. I was trying to get the best shot.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
in many ways I did. I
Yeah,
was
well, you
I was
have to,
fucking
yeah,
winning, dog. Like I
yeah.
mean,
Like
but at what cost? Like it's like you still need to be human. You can't be the Terminator. And a lot of high performance athletes struggle with this. Their teammates don't always like them, but they win championships.
yeah, it's
You know
you
what I
have to find
mean?
like a nice balance once you get
I'm fine.
like.
I'm figuring it out now. So yeah,
No, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny because every single time, like, um, what's it called? We've worked. It's like very like
intense.
it's very intense. Not
Yeah,
because, and I always respect it because I'm like,
it's
this
I'm
guy like
yep.
knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for a while, like,
I know it's not
and
fun to
so
work with you
I
probably
learn
sometimes.
from you, you know? No,
Yeah.
I no, you make like it's the same sense where you make me better
Yeah, I appreciate
because
that.
you make me look at things I don't usually look at. You, it is annoying sometimes.
Because
Don't
the
get me wrong.
marketplace is the dude, it's not me. It's like it's the
Yeah,
marketplace.
yeah.
Like
You
you
have to
don't
be perfect, you
there
know?
are people, yeah, it sucks.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
no, I love
it's
it. Like I love the grind. I
I'm
love
starting
how
to
passionate you are
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not
Um,
it doesn't come from a place of anything but wanting to win.
no, yeah, no, because every
You
single
know?
time you're like, I know you, I know I'm a pain in the ass, but like
Yeah.
if this is the world, I'm like, no, I totally
Yeah,
get, it, you know,
it's
like,
true because
um,
people learn this in fashion for sure. And I did consulting for a big modeling agency for a little bit, and it's like there's somebody in there's a cool thing about New York, LA, whatever. There's somebody waiting to take your fucking spot now,
all the time,
all the fucking
all the
time.
time, yeah,
Yeah, and that's cool. That's what it is. You have to accept that. And it's even worse if you don't come to a market with connections or financial I mean, I moved to New York, I knew nobody. The Hamptons, same thing. Like, it's you got to be even better.
yeah, you
I
got,
like my friends from other countries like that it's the same thing. They have to be perfect. You know,
mhm,
um, yeah, it's tough.
yeah,
It's you sometimes get one opportunity and then sometimes you don't realize that the way that you found out that you maybe weren't good enough at something, your phone just doesn't ring, you know?
yeah,
Like you might have that opportunity once and then it just like,
doesn't happen
you know,
again, yeah.
um so it's tough and I've been on both sides of it. I've been both the client and the person who but
Me
I
too,
think
you know,
sports prepared me
yeah,
for that.
for
Um
like rejection and like,
yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the cool thing about sports. I think there's another your spot in the lineup can be taken,
yeah, 'cause I know
like
I've
what I
been
mean?
there, and I've
It's
done it,
brutal. It's
yeah,
very it's a and it's I think maybe the industry is it's everything, dude. It's just especially the East Coast. I mean, yeah, I
yeah,
think I
yeah,
think New York is I like it. If you think you can hang, and then what you realize though is if you survive and if you like go through these things, and it's some rejection's great because you always bounce back. You pissed, and then you put your
yeah,
head down, and you fucking get better, and then you come back. You come back. Um, but I don't know. I forget what I was gonna say, but yeah, it's
yeah,
I
it's
that
kill or be killed type of mentality here, you know, and
yeah
I need to start getting better at that. Sometimes like I can tell that I'm way too nice to people,
yeah.
or like way too like, oh, like it's fine, or like, you
Well,
know,
nice is good. I just think the attention to detail is super important. I
yeah,
think just yeah, it's especially in the stuff I'm doing now in anything. I mean, I still do the brand stuff obviously, and it's like three people get to be on that campaign,
mhm,
and one person gets to DJ the event and like I don't know, like but there's a reward for excellence,
mhm,
and I think the difference is very very small. I don't want have you seen Any Given Sunday? Life is a game of inches. It's watch. I'll send you. It's best sports halftime speech of all time. Shout out Al Pacino. But he's like, life is a game of inches. The difference between making it and not making it is this small. Um, and I learned that through sports too. There's guys that are, Jadakiss says, from the song Why, why is some brother from up north better than Jordan, but didn't get that break. There's a luck
yeah,
element too, but
oh yeah,
but
100%,
you have to control the things you can control. Whether it's production, um, you know, being a chef, being a DJ, being a producer, being whatever the fuck you are. And the cool thing is now we all have this. Every single one of
yeah,
us has one of these. Well, most people. Uh, and yeah, it's a powerful tool.
it is, yeah,
This. And I always
massively,
invested in super high quality content and whatever. I mean, we sometimes the stuff shot on this is just as good or as impactful,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in terms of the actual result. But the whole world has been forced into this like you got to have a content strategy. So I don't care what you're doing, but that's and the fun thing about I think where content is at now is it's not there's not as much pressure to be perfect and super curated. I need to actually relax a little bit on my content. Still like I don't want to change, like do a 360,
Mhm.
but
No, I'm going
I
through the
came
same
up in the
thing.
Instagram game where everything fucking curated. You would take the picture of the coffee and you would get like 40 coffee and the coffee would have to be just right. You remember when Instagram?
Oh, yeah,
And then in
100%.
streetwear, it was like the sneaker guys. It was like
It
everything had to
needs
be
to be,
fucking
like,
symmetrical,
that
right? You remember those
exactly, you
guys
can't
with
have
you had
yeah.
the hoodie with it was blacked out face, or your feet were hanging off the side of buildings. That was the thing that like a lot of people like fell
Yeah.
off of those buildings just because they wanted those fucking shots. You know what I mean? I mean, I was in sneakers, but like it was so curated and edited and whatever. And I think the one healthy thing that has happened in content is um it's you get to be like, you're actually rewarded for being more real now. So
Yeah.
like I'm excited for like this opportunity to talk because I didn't I don't think people really knew who I was because I was creating some character because I was like trying to like be something in an industry, Um and I think the uh the paradox of social media is like once you like actually really open up and are authentic, um people are drawn to you so much more. It's no longer about like let me show this cool lifestyle that I'm living or this like aspirational thing. I was constantly trying to like brand myself
Mhm.
every and probably should have sprinkled in a little bit more like personality and fun things because that is actually who I am. But I think some of my life experience I haven't always had a chance to like catch my breath because I was surviving in New
Yeah.
York in a time where all the companies were holding on for fucking dear life as well. The media outlets are holding on. They're still falling apart.
No, yeah,
TV,
absolutely.
print, radio, like all these. I mean, people are
It's
freaking out.
crazy.
Macy's closing 100 stores a year. Lord and Taylor went out of business. Was it like all the sports? A lot of sports retailers are going. I mean, it's a tough
It
marketplace out
is,
there, dog.
yeah.
So you got to
Um,
stay agile and hustle.
yeah, definitely. I love giving, like I said, like, I really I've been wanting to interview. I've talked about this, like, a month or
Yeah,
2
100%.
ago about interviewing you because like you said, you feel like that you put on, like, on a brand every time you
Yeah,
go out, stuff
I
like
had to.
that, and it's,
The
50.
cool thing you can share whatever you get to create who you want to be. It's like dress for the job you want, like,
Yeah, exactly.
create the content of the life you want to live. And it's cool. It's a powerful tool. You're always going to become your truest self, hopefully. You're not going to like but you can like build your life based on the power of like what you share,
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Yeah.
You could also destroy it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's I have a love hate relationship at times with social media. It's changed my life in a lot of ways. It's also removed me from being in the moment a lot of times. I mean, I've had some incredible experiences, but at those incredible experiences, I
Yeah,
was
you
like trying
gotta
to get the fucking shot,
yeah,
and
totally.
that was ugh,
Yeah,
you know.
totally,
But I got a chance to get another incredible
totally.
experience because I got the shot. So I don't know, man. It's like the marketplace will always get more of what it rewards, and I think it was rewarding some things that weren't probably healthy for an entire generation of people. And you can either play the game or be left behind, and that's really tough. Um, and Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think I'm in a place where my feet are on solid ground. I'm confident in kind of who I want to be in the marketplace. I'm confident in the rules of the game. I know all the players, and now I can be me. And so the
that's
guy
awesome.
that's sitting here today, this is me.
That's awesome, yeah.
And so in the music thing's been a huge it's become pretty much everything.
Yeah,
So in order to be great at anything, you gotta be all in. So,
that's amazing, yeah.
but it's cool. All these experiences are coming together, and now I get to do cool video content and do brand integrations. I just got booked to DJ F1 in Las Vegas
That's sick.
with Heineken, which would be cool. So it's kind of the merge of this brand stuff and music. I'm working on a remix. So I'm actually gonna launch a song that's like motorsports inspired. So like it's just layers of things, and I think I think I'm doing the right things to succeed. There's no guarantee of success, but you can put yourself in a good position.
Yeah, definitely. That actually was kind of like leading up to my next question. Um, you know, we have a couple more minutes. I was gonna ask you, I think you told me a little bit, but is there anything cool coming up
Yeah.
that you want to tell, that can you speak about?
More new music, some cool collaborations that I can't talk about, but I have some cool stuff coming. And you gotta always be. Yesterday's home runs don't win tomorrow's games. Right?
Yeah.
Famous. I forget who said that, but it is a quote. Yogi Berra, maybe. Anyways, but um, that might be DiMaggio. I don't know. It's definitely a Yankee, but yeah, man. I'm got some. I'm gonna put out some new music. Probably gonna put out Chasing 2 probably next year, I think, or Chasing Volume 2. I don't know. We'll figure out a name. But I think I definitely being here and this being my home, I'm definitely gonna do some more sunset style stuff. Although I'm coming out with some bigger dance tracks. Um, you know, some more melodic stuff, some more techie stuff, and some like just straight up fun stuff. I have a song called "Ski Ski" coming up, which is winter,
Um,
winter inspired. It can be interpreted in other ways as well. But yeah, I'm having some fun, man, and I don't want to be forced to be. I've never wanted to be in a box. I think a lot of my life people have tried to put me in a box, and they try to put every human being in a
yeah.
box. And I've always kind of fought against that. So I think even musically, that you'll see that in my music. And then I'm trying to create some product. I have some cool product collaborations coming out, which I'm excited about. Um, and yeah, I'll be at Art Basel. I'll be at F1 in Las Vegas. I got a trip to Italy to meet with some factories. I won't tell you what I'm making, but I have some cool stuff coming. And yeah, the fight continues.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. It was always amazing to talk to you.
Appreciate it, bro.
We should definitely catch up and DJ a little bit.
100%.
I got some
Yeah.
cool. I got some cool things coming up. I'm DJing at the Room.
Sick. Yeah.
I get like
I
I'm
love
doing
it.
Afro House.
Yeah.
It's amazing set I
I
got.
think they did a
It's
great
gonna be
job with that
crazy.
the spot. I mean, they made it more intimate. It's a great venue. I mean, the Rubenstein's is how I ended up in the Hamptons. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea.
So yeah, Scott. I mean, I saw Scott today. But yeah, Matt, Scott, Holly, Brian, Rebecca. They're my people. Yeah,
Yeah,
they were kind of like the family that kind of adopted me when I first came out here.
that's awesome.
So yeah, the Room's a great spot. Go check out Zach. Fucking
Uh,
killing it. I'll be there if I'm here. What's the date
23rd, I believe,
of December?
of this
No.
month.
Oh, this month.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Vegas,
Oh
but
yeah.
I
Okay.
will. Yeah,
No, it was
I'll
really cool. Before I remember because I played tennis at there for like
yeah,
years. Yeah, like years. Like when I like since I was like a toddler.
yeah.
They showed me and my like mom and whoever was with me. I have such a vivid memory of the clubhouse when it was just a concept.
Oh yeah,
Like
100%.
I saw like the blueprint and I was like I
Yeah,
remember them taking it out of like little like
yeah.
glass box.
My first ever DJ gig was there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Damn, I had no idea.
yeah. I was sitting next to Rebecca when she was deciding they were gonna go to a gaming convention and they were gonna pick like what type of pins they were gonna use in the bowling alley. But yeah, so the way I met them originally was they were a client of mine when I was working at Adidas, and I was a sales rep, so I would sell, and I started my Instagram stuff to try to move to marketing
Mhm.
because it was tough. But they did a big retail business during the summer,
Yeah.
selling shorts,
Yeah,
socks,
yeah, yeah.
hats, wristbands. So yeah, no, the Rubensteins are great people,
Alright, awesome.
great family to know out here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, thank you for having me. Before we get into another tangent, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks for being
thanks for
here.
having me.
Thanks for everything.
Season 1, episode
Season
1.
one.
It's gonna be the biggest
Yeah.
podcast out. Off season,
Hopefully,
baby.
we
Check it
got some
out.
cool.
Subscribe.
You stole all my lines. Look at that.
Let's go. I got you, bro. I'm a marketer. I'm a sales guy. Let's go. Appreciate
It's
it.
the off season.